What's up, everybody? Jason Guyman here, and tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about hitting your $100,000 mark. Whether you're in pressure washing, Christmas light business, or whatever it might be, but I'm going to give you the resources that you need so that you will be able to grow your business and be successful. I've got several examples here of people who have done it, that there's nothing special about these people. They are ones that have were struggling at the time they started their Christmas light business, that they started their pressure washing business. And so that is what I'm going to hit on tonight. So as you watch and listen tonight, and as you learn, you're going to see that you can be capable of doing $100,000. Some of you, I believe you can do $500,000 of it. And some of you, I believe, can do $1,000,000. And so that's what we're going to hit on tonight. That's what I'm going to talk about. That's what I'm going to give you the resources of what you need to do to be able to do this. It doesn't matter if you're 21. It doesn't matter if you're 16. It doesn't matter if you're 65. I'm going to show you tonight how people in all range age groups of those age groups that have been able to do it and take the time and make it happen. So tonight's book of the week is a great book. I highly recommend this book to you. If you have not read this book, I would recommend you to read this book. If you have read this book, my ear needs to pop. If you have read this book, I'd rate it again. This is a great book to understand, especially that the ones that are trying to grow and to be able to get your business to where you want it to be at. So with that tonight, I'm stuck at 150, Jay says. Why won't it come up? Maybe not. Let me try a different screen here. Don't know why it's not coming up. Let's see what this screen does. There we go. Now I got it fixed. But tonight I want to hit on things that keep people from being able to get through the struggle. And that's what I want to hit on really hard tonight. And I believe that as I've learned, I actually had a guy today that messaged me on Facebook, and it's kind of long, and it's one of the things that I love when I'm able to get people like this, right? And so his name is Saul. Saul is 21 years old, and I'll just kind of read this to you so that way you can see that it's not just Jason reading it, but it's actually what I said. Jason Guyman, you cross my mind. I help it realize how inspiration you are. I got fired from my Christmas light company after the bipolar boss told me to start my own business. And I was lost, and I found you and realized he wasn't the only person in the world that knew how to hang Christmas lights, and that you had a good community for me to learn. I started off with like 5 clients, went to 25, then 50, now 100. I've doubled every year and look forward to shoot for 200 this year. Not only that, whatever it's not Christmas season, I reinvest my holiday light money into my exterior cleaning stuff. So I got the commercial grade set up for solar panels, window cleanings, and pressure washing. And it's not going bad whatsoever. So thank you for everything, but I realize how inspired you are maybe not the most handsome guy. I don't know where you get that from, but that definitely made it work out so well for yourself and your family. And you have changed so many other people's lives, like mine, to provide for my family and others. But I was just curious how I take it to the next level to be able to hit 200 mark. And I see you got your own community where you also scaled up and help people with mentorship and also a vendor for Christmas lights, which is the big boss status that I would love to get to. Hope you help me out. Another inspiration, I would love to get into real estate one day after saving the money and grow in my business following years. Recently just turned 21. So I want to not only talk about how do we get to our first 100,000, I want to talk about how do we get to our second 100,000 or our first million. Because a lot of times as we start growing these businesses and as we start looking and wanting to do it, and sometimes we just like, Jason, what do I need to do? Right? Do I do this? This person tells me to do this. Bob over here tells me to do this. Johnny over here tells me to do this. What do I need to do? And this can be hard sometimes. And some people are going to give you bad information. They're going to tell you to go buy all this equipment. I don't care if it's pressure washing, Christmas lights. Are going to be like, go buy $10,000 worth of equipment. And I will tell you that that is the dumbest thing that you can do. I had a good friend that came to one of my classes, and he went and spent $20,000 on a pressure washing machine and a whole nice, beautiful rig. And the next thing you know, he's going out of business. And he's coming to me and saying, Jason, why isn't this working? I have this $20,000 rig. I've also had people say, I bought these $10,000 worth of lights and I barely made $8,000. So he literally worked for a whole year and made no money. And so what I first told the first guy, that he's out of Georgia and he had a beautiful rig, $20,000 rig. And I asked him, I said, how much do you spend in marketing? What are you doing in marketing? Well, I just put up a couple signs. I don't do too much. I don't know how to spend. I don't have no money to spend on that. Well, yeah, because you spent $20,000 on a rig, and a rig is not going to make you money. Buying a bunch of Christmas lights is not going to make you a bunch of money. Now, don't get me wrong. I want you to go to christmaslights.io and buy Christmas lights, but I also want you to be successful. And that's my number one concern, is to make sure that you are being successful. Because if you're not successful, you're not going to buy no more lights. You're not going to come listen to no more trainings of me, because you failed, or you thought you failed. You just learned and didn't learn. You learned the hard way that buying equipment doesn't make you money. And I get it. There's a lot of people out there that's going to preach to go buy this big high dollar equipment. There's a bunch of people out there that's going to make fear and tell you to go buy all these Christmas lights. Now, if you want the best price for Christmas lights, now is probably the time to buy it, because we don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of instability. I'm not telling you to go buy it. I'm just telling you that now is probably going to be the cheapest that you're going to be able to get it, unless things change, and we don't know. So with that, the reason why I teach you all to do Christmas lights at $8 to $12 a foot, it's not going to really matter if it costs you double for the bulb, because you're still going to make money. So the number one thing is, what do we need to do for marketing? What's the strategic play for marketing? What do I need to market? How do I need to market? Where do I need to market? And the first thing that I always say is, and this can be hard when you're first starting out, is who is your customer? What do they look like? How many kids do they have? Where do they go to school at? What subdivisions do they live in? What cities do they live in? Are they male? Are they female? Do they have 2 kids? Do they have 0 kids? And so when you start looking at this and you build a profile of who is your customer, This will help you start marketing to that customer. Because if I can picture that person in my head, then I can start looking at them and saying, this is what you need. This is why you need pressure washing. This is why you need these Christmas lights. And so when we start looking like that versus just spreading out and shooting for everyone, I love when I ask people, who is your customer? And they always tell me, everyone's your customer. So people that rent are your customers. People that live in apartments are your customers. People that are on a fixed income are your customers. Well, some of your customers are on a fixed income because they're going to say it's on a fixed income. And when you pull up their house and it's a $5 million house, they're on a really fixed, nice income. And I always tell people like that is yeah, I'm on a fixed income too. I just want it to be like yours someday. And so that's what you got to think about when you're doing this is who is your customer? What do they look like? And so for Christmas lights, right now is the time that we're going to start getting ready for things. We're going to make sure, and this is if you're just starting your business, you're going to get, whether it's Christmas lights or pressure washing, you're going to get your website up. You're going to get citations to your website. You're going to get your LinkedIn profile, business LinkedIn profile. You're going to get your personal LinkedIn profile. You're going to get your business Facebook page up. You're going to get, what are some other things that you need to do? But the reason why you want to do that is you want to be able to put your name, address, and phone number all over the internet. And no, I did not say go to Google and do your Google My Business or Google Business profile right away, because the reason why we don't do that no more is if we build citations, they're called citations. If we build citations on these other properties out on the internet, then Google will be like, well, this must be a business. And so that's how and why we want to do it. We want to do a YouTube channel, and our YouTube channel is going to have our name, address, phone number, website on those videos too. So that way Google's like, oh, this must be a legit business. So when we do go to do our Google business profile, it's going to go out on the internet and be like, this is a business. And this is one way that you won't get suspended. If you don't do this, it's probably going to go through, and the next day it's going to go suspended. It's just the way it works. Very few people do I know that don't do the first part will normally go and get suspended pretty quickly. Then the next thing I would do for marketing is get your Facebook up and running, right? This is something for free. A lot of times people are like, I don't have no money. Well, I'm going to do the free ones first. So you're going to go on Facebook. You're going to go in Facebook groups, and you're just now starting to build relationships. We're not going into these groups and spamming these groups saying, I'm a pressure washer, I'm a Christmas light installer, you need to buy my stuff. Because if you start going into these groups and start saying, I'm a pressure washer, I'm a Christmas light person, they are going to shut you down very, very quickly. And so this is how you're able to build relationships with these people in these groups. The next thing is you can do Nextdoor. I know some people that have had some really good success with Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a lot like Facebook groups. Some work, some don't. Let's go back to Facebook groups. Facebook groups work awesome if you're in the right groups. If you're in the people groups that don't mean nothing, and if you're in the people, and if you're in the groups of the buy-sell groups, those usually don't do very good for you. So you want to be in the mom groups. That's a little nugget for you. The mom groups are the groups that you're going to get the best results out of. Now, Jason, I'm not a mom. Well, hopefully you have a wife. If you don't have a wife, there is ways that you can find out who the admin is and ask if you can do something for them so that way they can get you in the groups. Yard signs. This is one of my favorites, is good old yard signs. Yard signs work amazing for pressure washing. They work amazing for Christmas lights. I believe they work even better for Christmas lights. So when are we going to start putting out yard signs? Well, if you want them to work awesome, as you're sitting in your house right now, right, and you're looking around saying, well, I ain't got that. Yard signs can work amazing. Yard signs is one of my favorite things to get business. I can get people in business anywhere by yard signs. And so this is definitely something that I would highly recommend. I love this, Jeremy, because you are exactly right. If you can get a customer to put you in a subdivision group, it is gold. And it is actually better that if they put it in versus you putting it in. Because they can say, man, look how awesome my deck looks. Jeremy did this and he did an amazing job. It doesn't say go hire Jeremy. It just says that he did an amazing job. And that's going to get other people calling you and texting you and getting your phone to ring. And so that's why it is so important that we use this for our advantage. So, yard signs. If you're going to do yard signs, it's not doing 100 yard signs for the whole year. Now, I have a guy, his name is Andrew, I'm sorry, his name is Andrew, and he's out of Denver, Colorado. He bought 100 yard signs. He put out 25 yard signs for Christmas lights. In his very first year of doing Christmas lights, he did $125,000 in Christmas lights. Yes, you heard that right, $125,000 off of only just 25 little yard signs. So they work, and they work about anywhere that you want. And so before I move on here, I'm going to hit Galaxy since he asked a question here. What about Facebook ads? So Facebook ads can do very good for Christmas lights. For pressure washing, I can't show you too many businesses that hit high dollar pricing off of that. Now, with that said, I've got another guy that started his pressure washing business last year, right around this time. He came to one of my classes. He had never started a pressure washer. He was in a marketing business before he started a pressure washing business. And so Dennis started his pressure washing business, and he came to my class here in Cincinnati. And when he came, he left, and he started doing his Facebook ads. And he did do pretty well off of Facebook ads his first year because he knew how to set them up and he knew how to run Facebook ads because he used to work for a marketing company that marketed kitchen stuff or for kitchen repair, bathroom repair, I believe it was. But he was able to use Facebook ads to do that. But he still did the cards, right? You still got to ask for review cards. He also was asking for referrals. He was also putting out yard signs. So it's not one thing that worked. It was several things. So it's not like I can say Facebook ads do great for pressure washing. For Christmas lights, you can do pretty well off of Christmas lights. So my friend Daniel, who did Christmas lights this last year. His first year, he did $179,000. Last year, he did over $500,000. Now, he's one, like I tell a lot of times, is he's got all these yard signs in his garage. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the yard signs in your garage does not work very well. So he actually did a lot of Facebook ads. He probably spent about $4,000 on Facebook ads, and that's how he got a lot of his customers, was off of those Facebook ads. Now, he also did a lot of phone calling. He called during the season for Christmas lights. And so Facebook ads can definitely work, and it can definitely do well. It's just a matter of getting them out there and getting them done. The next secret to be able to hit $100,000 or more is being able to not undercharge. I see so many beginners and people that have been in business a long time, and they will tell me things that their mindset won't let them get more than what they believe. And this is back to, if you believe it and you say it, it will happen. If you say things like, well, Jason, you just can't get that in my area. And I'm going to say, well, you know what? You're exactly right. Because if you don't believe that you can get premium pricing in your area, I promise you, you won't get it. You know, I see Jeremy Main in here, right? And Jeremy has an average ticket of $2,000 for Christmas lights or more. And he's probably close to $1,000 average ticket for pressure washing. Last year, he hit 7 figures in his pressure washing and Christmas light business. You don't get that types of numbers by going off of cheap pricing. Now, is there cheap people in his area? Absolutely there is. In fact, I can point them out to you. I can go show you that they have a YouTube channel and different things out there. But here's what I want to tell you. Just because your so-called competition doesn't charge what they should be charging, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be charging it. Just because they don't know their worth, that's the reason why they're stuck at $30,000 a year or $50,000 a year. Or maybe they make $100,000 a year. But in the end, they really don't make that much money. They might as well worked at a McDonald's and made $20 an hour and would have made the same amount of money as what they brought home anyway. So the first thing with our pressure washing and Christmas light pricing is don't price cheap, right? Don't price cheap. Those aren't our customers. Cheap customers are not the people that we want. And so we want the wealthy clients. We want them. They have a different mindset. They're not worried about money. They're worried about their time. Why do you think they read the book, Buy Back Your Time? Because they know that it's more important to go buy back your time than it is to go out there and wash the house. It's more important to have those amazing Christmas lights than climbing up on the roof and falling off. And so they would rather pay you so they can go see their kids' games and they can go enjoy their spouse's time. They can go on vacation and it just gets done. And that's the most important thing. And so when we are trying to sell to these people, it's not, oh, this LED bulb and we're going to put it on the peak. It's not about we're using soft wash and we use this chemical and we do this and we don't use pressure and blah. And we just spew out bullcrap. We just spew out these things that they don't care about because we're selling the features instead of selling the benefits. Do you think, ma'am, that you could go watch your kid's or your grandson's game is way more important than you being here to put up the Christmas lights or washing the house? And so this is why you have to think about what you're looking for in there. The next thing is make sure that you are offering packages. Packages are super important for whether it's pressure washing or Christmas lights. It doesn't matter which one you're in. If you're not offering packages, if you only offer someone a $1,000 Christmas light install, the most they're going to be able to give you is $1,000. But if you offer them a $3,000 package and a $1,000 package and a $1,800 package, then the likelihood of them going with an $1,800 is pretty daggone good. Because we know that when you offer packages, 50% of the people are going to pick the middle package, and 25% of people always have to have the best, and 25% of the people are going to pick the $1,000 package. But if you don't offer a $1,000 house wash and a $300 window cleaning and a $400 driveway cleaning and a $800 roof clean, if you don't offer that and all they called was a $300 house wash, well, and you only give them the house wash, well, that's why your average ticket is only $300, because you didn't give them a better package to be able to think about it, right? And so when you add each package, you are adding value, right? We are adding value on top of value on top of value. And that's the most important thing that we can think about as we're doing this. The next thing is anchoring price, right? The reason why we want to give a $3,000 price tag out there is because that is a lot of money. But $2,000 ain't so bad now. Now, if I just went in and said, ma'am, this is $1,500 and didn't anchor a higher price, that $1,500 sounds like a lot. But from $3,000 to $1,500 is not so bad. And that's why we want to do anchor pricing, because it allows them to be able to do that. When we are selling to people, what questions are you asking? And are you doing all the talking, or are your customers doing all the talking? Because, that was loud, because if we ask the right questions, we will get the answers that we need to be able to sell to them later on. So that's the most important thing. Why do you need this house washed? Well, I got friends and family coming over. Okay. So when you go to give them that $3,000 package, I can use that. Well, you know, when your friends and family comes over, you don't want them to see that black, nasty roof and those dirty windows and that dirty concrete. You might as well clean it all. Or, why are you wanting these Christmas lights this year, ma'am? Well, my grandson, it's his first Christmas. Well, Miss Jones, here is the $3,000 package. And man, when little Timmy comes, he is going to look so amazing. It's going to look so awesome. And he's just going to be ready to know that this is grandma's house. And she has the best house, right? And so this is, if we ask the right questions, we can sell on those questions. And these are all things that are either going to get us to 100,000 or 1 million. This isn't something that is where you need to be at. This is where you need to be at. Well, Jason, what about if they don't want it? What about price objections? Well, one of the things is what price objections do you commonly have? And that might be a question for you. What questions do you commonly get for price objections? That's too high. Well, that's why we pre-qualify people, especially for Christmas lights. And we let them know. So we don't go out there and give them a price and they're like, oh my God, that's more than doctors make. I love when they say that. That's the most amazing thing that rings my ears. When I hear people say, you make more than a lawyer or a doctor. Well, I have a lot of risk. Do they have a risk of falling off the roof? Yeah, they might have the risk of killing somebody, but they're still here. You fall off the roof because you did something stupid and didn't tie off because you can't afford the equipment to tie off, or you can't afford the pitch hopper, or you can't afford the goat because you're not charging enough, then that's just dumb. It's just not responsible. You know, it's not responsible to your family. It's not responsible to your spouse. So that's why we need to charge enough. And then with that, what's your follow-up? Do you follow up once? Do you follow up zero? Most people I know follow up zero. When I ask them what is their follow-up system, they look at me like, follow-up system? I don't follow up. That's the most important thing you can do, is following up. Because we know when we start looking at the human brain and we look at the DISC program and we know that 69% of people are a type S personality and 69% of the people won't buy right away. So maybe that's why we need to follow up 10 to 15 times. Yes, I said that right. 10 to 15 times. So these are all things that we need to follow up. Are you calling them? Are you texting them? Are you emailing them? And then last is my favorite. Systems. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the follow-up system. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the phone system. What is your system? How do you hang the lights? How do you make sure that you do a great job pressure washing? How do you make sure your teammates pressure wash properly? Because these are all important things that a lot of people just jump over, and they don't have systems. They don't have videos for their employees to watch. They don't have SOPs or SOGs as guidelines. You know, the reason why I came up with the 25 steps to the perfect house wash and the 25 steps to the perfect Christmas light install is because my employees forgot stuff. Did you know that airplane pilots that they fly 3-4 times a day has a checklist that they have to checklist off every time they go? Did you know that if they have any emergency, they have a checklist to make sure that they're doing all of the things in a proper sequence? So if it's that important for an airplane pilot that flies every day, 3-4 flights a day, then why don't you think you need a checklist to make sure that you're hitting everything? My favorite is one of my guys that took my class calls me and says, Jason, my employees screwed this up. I'm like, okay. Do you have the before photos? Well, you know, they got so busy, we forgot to take the before photos. So yes, your guys screwed it up. Make sure they take the before and afters again before they move on. So 6 months later, calls me back again. Jason, these doors, they're wanting me to paint them. Did you get photos before? Well, Jason, You just don't understand. It was dark out. Did you not get there in the daytime to take the pictures during the daytime? Did you not take the pictures when you went and quoted it? No, I didn't. I forgot all about it. Then it looks like you're probably going to be painting the doors. Because if you don't have proof that it was screwed up, you screwed it up. And so having systems is one of the most important things that you can do. You know, in the pressure washing, the 26 steps, most of it is for marketing and covering your butt, right? And here's the thing. You, as the business owner, if you don't have systems, and if you don't do the things that you need to do, and if you don't put the systems in place, and if you don't use the systems, your employees aren't going to use them either. So don't make your employee start doing something that you're not going to do. So again, here's the thing about systems. As you start growing and scaling, it makes a big, big difference for this, right? Huge difference. Huge difference. Because the bigger your company gets, the little thing that you didn't do when you first started gets become a huge problem later on. So those are the three things that's going to help you. I didn't talk about equipment. I didn't talk about that kind of stuff because what I've learned, if you can't get the phone to ring and if you don't know how to price, I don't care what equipment you have. You can have a $50,000 rig. You can have a $100,000 rig. And if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't know how to price, if you don't know how to get the phone to ring, if you don't answer the phone, if you don't know how to answer the phone, those are all things that's going to keep you from hitting $100,000. Now, I know some people are going to tell me, but Jason, you just don't understand. I understand completely. I have helped thousands of people make $100,000 a year. Some people can do it, and some people struggle with it. The thing that I see that the people struggling with it is their mindset. They won't spend money on marketing. They don't want to do the hard things. They don't want to do videos. They don't want to do posts. They want the easy button. And the easy button is keep doing what you know that works and keep moving forward. And every step you move forward is a leap that you make forward. Because so many people will just sit there, and here's the problem with it. They'll be like, yard signs working great, but I don't want to do that. I want to go over here and do this. And they quit doing yard signs. And they do Google ads. Or they do something else. I don't want to do door knocking, but I don't know how to make money anyway else. And yes, I know that's not normally one of my ways of doing marketing, but door knocking is a way to make money even for Christmas lights. And so these are the things that you have to do. Your thumb over the end of the house hose bib to check for leaks saved me this week. 25 steps. That's one of my steps for house washing is kinking the hose and listening. Because if you live in an area where they freeze, I've seen basements get destroyed because they started the pressure washer, didn't pay no attention, and filled the basement full of water. Because for the hour that it was running water into that basement. So just things like that are on that 25-step checklist are huge to make sure that you don't screw something up. So with that, those are the 3 steps that will get you to success. Are they easy? Not always. Do you have to change your mindset? Probably so. Do you ever stop learning? No. If you think you know it all, that's your first mistake. I've been doing this since 2012 and I still don't know everything. There's things that are coming out changing. There's things in marketing. The AI is flipping things up on top of its head that you don't know everything. You can think you know everything, but I promise you, you don't know everything. So whether you're talking about Christmas lights or you're talking about pressure washing or whatever service business that you're in, you don't know. So if you've got any questions, put them in here. I've seen I got some questions that people are asking. So put them in there in the chat and I will get to your questions. So one of the things that if you want to know about some in-person trainings, I have 2 classes coming up that I have on the website. One of them is not on the website yet, but it will be on tomorrow. I'm going to have a class in July in Charlotte, North Carolina. And in June, I'm going to have one in Michigan with Jeremy. So Jeremy's shop is up in Michigan. He's the one that was a garbage man, and now he's doing over $1 million in his business in 2024. So if you want to go around smart people and learn and see how they're doing it, I would suggest you to come to one of those 2 classes that I will have the second one up in there. So the other thing too is if you want to know when I go live, you can text the word LIGHT, L-I-T-E, to 855-619-5483. Anytime I go live, I will text and let you know I'm going live so you can never miss a live. Also, if you're in the Facebook group, I have a Facebook group for Christmas light installers. So if you want to go check it out, you can go to christmaslights.io/group. I will be giving $500 worth of signs away by the end of, I don't know if it'll be by the end of May or the end of June. I have not decided. But I am going to be giving $500 away for yard signs. I don't know what the actual way of entry is going to be, but be out on the lookout for that so that way you can find out about that. So I seen a permanent light up here, so that's why I'm turning on my permanent lights here. Find great areas and focus on that area. Thanks for the super chat. First season upcoming. We'll have 1 helper. How would you pay him? Hourly or per job? If he's just a helper, I would just pay hourly because he's going to be there sometimes and sometimes he's not. And I wouldn't pay percentage or by the job. I used to kind of pay by the day. So if I knew I had the guy for a day, I'd pay $150 to $200 per day. And that way it was just kind of simpler on me to know how much it was and where it was at. Hi, Jason. Good thing I have pressure washing to fall back on. It's raining. Been raining every day. No staining. It has been raining a lot. The grass is growing and it's definitely coming. We are in full swing here in North Carolina. Yep, I bet you are. If you can get a customer to put it in the subdivision that is growed, and what Jeremy's talking about is when you're done with the job, you can ask them to refer a friend or say, hey, would you mind going to your favorite social media and post about the service that we did for you? It would greatly help me out. Here, I will send you some before and after pictures so that way you can put them up. Or with Christmas lights, or I could come by tonight and take some good pictures for you so that you can post them also. So those are two ways that we're able to use our customers to be able to do that. Find a great area. You will never get off the truck if you don't charge premium. And all that marketing money for the cheap customers will be wasted when you raise your prices and have to start over. This is a question I get asked a lot. And the question is, Jason, if I'm just starting out, can I charge less? Can I charge $6 a foot? Can I charge 18 cents a square foot for house wash? And my answer is you can, but you're going to regret it. Because if you can't sell it at $8, you're probably not going to be able to sell it at $6 a foot. If you can't sell pressure washing at 30 cents a square foot, you're probably not going to be able to sell it at 18 cents a square foot, because you do not believe in the value that you have. And just like Jeremy said, next year you have to fire those customers, generally speaking, because what you find out about cheap customers is they will complain about everything. They will complain about that it's not right, that they didn't use enough lights, it's not clean enough, you didn't do what you said you were going to do, and they will nitpick you to death. And this is why I don't like cheap customers. I try to give them to somebody else. I will be starting my own permanent light business this year, and I've been learning a lot from you and your content. Thank you for your content. Well, thank you for watching. I will be having more content coming out on permanent lights along with Christmas lights. I'm kind of excited because in June, I'm actually going to be moving out of my garage and into a new shop for my pressure washing and Christmas lights. I'm going to have a studio in there. I'm also going to have a place where I will be able to hold classes in my new shop. So I'm really excited about it. So that is definitely something that is going to be coming in the future. I know that I said that a couple weeks ago I had some exciting news, and that's my exciting news is I am getting a shop so that way I can build rigs in it. I can have classes in it. I can have, I'm going to build a house in there where you'll be able to get up on a roof, but it's down low. We're going to be able to put track where we'll be able to do the permanent lights in there. And so that is why I will be having more content, because I'm going to be having those things coming up here. I pay mine hourly, started when we arrive at the first job till we leave the last one. Can you do packages in an area where the home aren't cookie cutters and are vast different sizes? Absolutely. I did packages on everything. If you're doing it, and this will depend too, if you are doing it by the square footage or are you bidding it out. So even on the square footage, a lot of times, even so, I use Responsibid. And Responsibid, if you want to go check out Responsibid, if you go to either christmaslights.io, go to the resource page, and on the resource page, I have Responsibid on there, or on King of Pressure Wash. And what you'll find out is you can do it by the square footage. Now on Christmas lights, it's a little bit harder. You still have to measure it out and do the packages. But on pressure washing, I always did it by the square footage of the house. I just looked it up on Zillow and I found out what the square footage was, and that's the number I used. And so as my packages went up with how the size of the package of the square footage of the house was. So that's how I was able to do that. Regarding permanent lighting, do you pay your installers per hour or per job or both? I personally would pay per foot. I would probably pay them $1 a foot, maybe probably $2 per foot is how I would charge to install permanent lights. If it takes them forever, that's on them. If they get it done fast, that's on them also. The problem with paying people a lot of times by the hour is they will not work very fast and they will take their good old sweet time. And that's why I like to work on piece rate, because when you work piece rate, the faster they work, the more money they can make. Packages work best beforehand. When it's dirty, they feel the pain point. If you try and add on after the pain point is gone. Yep. He who asks the question controls the conversation. What are you doing to market permanent lights? Google Ads seems to not work too well. I personally would do Facebook ads for permanent lights. A lot of people don't even know about permanent lighting. And if you are just using permanent lights for Google Ads, they don't know what they're looking for. The reason why I call them permanent Christmas lights is because most people that I seen that was searching for them last year was typing in permanent Christmas lights. It's just like people that think that house washing on the yard signs are going to do better than pressure washing. Most people don't know what industry terms are. House washing is an industry term. Soft washing is an industry term. Permanent lighting is an industry term. Christmas lights that are permanent is not an industry term. So you got to know what people are looking for. I will be in Charlotte, baby. Awesome. It'll be great to see you. Oxidation removal pricing for vinyl siding. I'm at 90 cents per square foot. Is that too low? That's I did not want to do it. Like, I hate doing that stuff. And so I would always tell the customer it's like $1,000. So that's where I would be at. But I will tell you, because most people think that oxidation removal is real easy. And there's videos out there. You just spray this stuff on and you just rinse it off. Oxidation removal don't work like that. I'll just tell you, it does not work that way. You might get 1 out of 10 that works that way. You're going to have to scrub them stupid things. So make sure you charge. Jeremy, heard anything about LSA lately? Prices are going up per lead, not as many leads. The form on my website above the fold is my bread and butter. I have heard they've been going up. I don't know why. So, and they are changing them. I've seen that there's some changes that they're trying to get to Angie's List is what I've kind of gathered is what they're wanting to do. Or have you to try and explain to them why you're raising your price 2x. That's what you have to do the next year if you don't go cheap, if you go cheap the first time. Where do you get your shirts and review cards? So the shirts I get from Saad, SAAD. It's Total 360, I believe it's called. No, TSOL 360 is what the shirts are. The review cards, you can get these at christmaslights.io and I'll make them for you. Or you can go to Canva and you can make them yourself on Canva. So you can make these yourself on Canva and do them that way. If you want me to make them right now, I don't know if I have them for King of Pressure Wash, but on christmaslights.io, you can go to the cards and you can get them. I can get them made for you. And if you want them made for pressure washing, we can make them for pressure washing also. True, cheap customers aren't worth it. Also, weekend clients, I stay away from there too. Be a company who is based off of value, not pricing. I would say 100% this is correct. People think that pricing is going to get you more customers. And that is the biggest, stupidest thing that you can think. That, well, if I'm cheap enough, I'm going to get a lot of customers. Let's talk about my friend Rick. My friend Rick came into my membership. If you didn't know, I have a membership, christmaslights.io, kingofpressurewashed.com, both of them. And this is what happened. He was doing $150,000 a year when he joined. In 1 year, and he'd done that like 2 years, 3 years in a row. The next year he came in and he did yard signs. He was putting 57 things on this yard sign and it wasn't getting no phone calls. So I told him what to put on the yard sign and I told him how many yard signs to put out. And the next year he did less jobs and made $300,000. You heard that right. He went from $150,000 to $300,000 in 1 year. And last year, which was another year, he did over $500,000. Last week, he called me and texted me and he said, Jason, I only did $21,000 this week. He's like, I remember when I couldn't do $2,000 or $3,000 a week. And now I just did $21,000 in 1 week. And he wants to be at $30,000 in a week. And there's nothing special about Rick. Rick started a pressure washing business. Rick used to sell knives at the fairs. He was the guy that went around and sold knives at the fairs. He wasn't making much money when he did this. He was traveling a lot. He just quit that job and started a pressure washing business. And that's how he's been able to do it. And now his goal is to do $750,000 to $800,000 this year in 2025. That's really cool, Jason. Hard work paying off. Congrats. Pay for performance and everyone wins. The other thing I like about pay for performance is you know your cost. I know it's going to cost me this much money to get this done. And your guys can make a lot of money if they're good. So you charge by the square footage of the blue floor plan, not the square footage of the siding and roof. And that is correct. And I actually charge per square foot off of living space and not the actual entire building. Reason why I do that is I can go to Zillow, I can go to realtor.com, I can just Google the address and get the square footage of the living square footage really fast, and I don't have to sit there and do a bunch of measuring. What are a couple pro tips for someone who is just starting out in the permanent lighting game? One, right now, it's slow. I'm just going to tell you it's slow right now for most people. I would do Facebook ads. I would do yard signs. I would do reaching out and cold calling. Pick up the phone, call pubs, call whatever, and see if you can get people to pick up and to do that. I just got my pressure washing truck working. Thanks for all the tips and tricks. You really are helping people get free from being in someone else's schedule. You're helping people get on their own time. That's what I want to do. When providing an estimate, do you itemize each service or provide a single flat rate? I'm not going to sit there. This is a little, I mean, if we're talking about pressure washing, I'm going to be like house wash, this price. Driveway cleaning, this price. A lot of times I'm going to be like, package A is house wash. That's this price. Package B is house wash and window cleaning. Price. Package C is house wash, window cleaning, driveway cleaning. This price. That's how I usually price it. I don't price out each individual one. With that said, if you're going to go in person, I would write out each item and then give a package price. And when you write out each item, you're going to raise those prices up. So that way, if you buy it this way, it's going to be your best deal. A doctor told me I'm in the wrong because I will give him the quote. I sit outside of Sheetz gas station with a sandwich and talk to the truck drivers getting fuel. I get wash jobs like this. What's your best recommendation for marketing for a fairly new guy? I know people hate when I say this, but I can show you people making $100,000 off of this one thing alone in pretty much any area that you go to. And that is yard signs. Figure out how many yard signs you're going to put out a month and do it every month. If you really want to get a business growing and you want to spend $700, go buy 200 yard signs per month. Put out 50 per week and your phone will ring a lot. And what I will tell you is answer your phone because it's going to ring a lot. Now, what are you going to put on those yard signs? You're not going to put a bunch of crap on them. You're going to make them real simple. It's going to be 3 lines. Pressure, washing, phone number. And that's it. And that's all you're going to put on them. The Lord has been good. The economy seems to be back, baby. Call for estimates for a period of March and April went from 331 in 2024 to 501 in 2025, a 51% increase. So this is what I'm going to tell Riker here. David Hamill does a lot of different marketing tactics. He actually just came to he was my last class. And I asked, how many yard signs is people going to put out this year? And Justice was like, I'm going to do 2,500 yard signs. And he was proud of it. Until Hamill said, I'm going to do 7,500 yard signs for pressure washing and Christmas lights. And so how do you get the phone to ring this many times? How do you get it to ring 500 times to get leads and stuff, calls? Is by doing the marketing that you need to do. So just something to think about. Jason, is it typical to have a slightly lower April? The past 2 years, this has been my experience. Well, I will tell you, this year has been really hard for a lot of people for the phone to ring because it rained and rained and snowed and rained some more and snowed all the way up to the middle of April. I always say that your phone doesn't start ringing until you start mowing your grass regularly. And I didn't mow my grass and nobody else mowed their grass till the middle of April. So that's why it was slow. This winter was a long, cold, long winter, is what my experience normally is. And so I know DJ has been very blessed in getting a lot of commercial jobs this year. And so that's helped him out to get through that slow period. But if you're in an area and you haven't been working on your commercial work, then that's what takes a little bit longer. Love the story about my man, Ricky. David Hamill is the man, and he knows his numbers. Rick specializes in technology. So, if you all want to know Rick, the best place to find Rick is join King of Pressure Wash and come on the Monday Night Live Zoom calls. Every Monday night, I do a 2-hour Zoom call. It originally was supposed to be 30 minutes. I was going to teach 15 minutes of marketing and 15 minutes of just talking. Now it goes from 15 minutes of marketing to an hour and a half of just talking and coaching and helping people grow. And Rick has actually been busy and hasn't been on the last 2 weeks, but he does join quite often. Hit the like button. I appreciate it. Washing semi-trucks is what I do, not houses, but still tons of advice from your videos. Thank you. That's one thing that I've not done much of, doing the truck wash. I'm debating to change my CRM from Jobber to Marquette or House Call Pro. Do you have thoughts? I have lots of thoughts. There is no perfect CRM. Jobber does good at some things. Marquette does okay at some things. House Call Pro does okay at some things. But there is no perfect CRM out there. You can pay the $400 a month on Jobber and you'll get some, but their email marketing sucks. Their follow-up sucks. You can't do text messages. You can't do emails. So that part of it sucks. Marquette, you can do some of that, but there's other issues. Customer Factor, you didn't even put Customer Factor on there. Customer Factor has been around probably almost as long as any of them. And it does well, but it also has issues. I know a lot of people that have been in business for years, and they do $1 million a year, and they still use good old Customer Factor. So just some things that you can think about those are some things that you can think about. Any technology out there to quote fence staining remotely. Google Satellite is usually blocked by the trees. Yeah, I don't know any other than going and walking. Yard signs, and more yard signs. How about door knocking for generating leads for permanent lights instead of Facebook, cold calls, etc.? Yes, it definitely works. Because the great thing about door knocking is when you do get a job in that neighborhood, then you do the door knocking around that neighborhood. That works great. 100% great. Just ordered 300, put out 200 already. We're putting out 300 this year. Hello from Arizona. Seems to be really slow in pressure washing this year. Maybe just me. Last year, its time was really busy, April and May, and then I died in June. That's weird, Maurice. I would think you would still be busy, but you also don't have a lot of mold. So you're probably going to have to figure out their pain point and go after that pain point. I appreciate it, brother. I just got some advice to go for paver sealing and pressure washing, second place. If there's a lot of pavers, I would definitely do the pavers. I don't know how many you got out there, but definitely do the pavers and out there. The only strike against me now is I'm older, heavier guy and bad knees. With some weight loss, the knees will hurt less. The weather has been awful up here in southeast Michigan. This year is a bit underwhelming, not as much work as I envisioned, only 5.5 since March 15th. Where do you all order signs? Moneybushes.com. Moneybushes.com. I think I have it here. We love Money Bushes. Moneybushes.com, which is UZ Marketing. But use Money Bushes and you'll buy me a cup of coffee, and I appreciate it. I did door knocking, and my first day, people were calling the cops on me. You got to make sure you have the right license. You got to make sure that you're in the right neighborhoods, and all of that good stuff is what you have to do. Jason has the link. Surfactant. We have been using Slow-Mo for years, but it doesn't seem to be foaming up like it used to. What is today's go-to surfactant that works to suds well on a roof? Yeah, because Slow-Mo, it used to be like really thick, I always thought. I've only used it like one time. I still like Russ Johnson's Roof Snot. I know it's not near as sudsy as the other stuff, but that's what I've always used. We use some of Midwest stuff. I don't remember what it's called. It seemed to do okay, but the thing I like about the Roof Snot is the windows don't get all messed up. That's why I like it. Do you know if I need an electrician license to own the permanent LED business and sell jobs? I would like to be doing the installations myself. Maybe I would just need a contractor's license. Depends on where you are located at. I don't know where you're from, but that's the biggest thing. We have pavers everywhere, very long driveways, and backyards, thousands of square feet. Yes, I would definitely do paver sealing then, is what I would do. Should I make paver sealing yard signs? Yes, I would make paver sealing yard signs. Yes, is what I would do. This will get you a lot of money. Make sure you're charging for it. This is something that you're going to charge. I know some people that charge $3-4 a square foot for it. When I used to do pavers, I was charging like $2.50 to $3 a square foot. So it's definitely something that works very well, and there's a lot of money to be made. Now, I know that there's going to be people that tell me that you can't get that in your area, and they're right because they won't ask for it. Bought 100 yard signs and put 10 out the first week, and first call paid for the signs and ordered another order. That's awesome. Well, hopefully this is something that you guys need to work on, is how do we get the phone to ring? How do we answer the phone? How do we grow business? I know a lot of people, the one reason why I do my classes and for permanent lights and Christmas lights and even my pressure wash class, the one day is all for marketing and sales, how to close jobs, because a lot of people don't understand the business portion of this here. You know, David Hamill was up here, was talking, right? And he came to the class. He's like, I have not washed one house. I have not put one Christmas lights on a house. And that's where you should be. You know, some people will say, Jason, you just don't understand that you need to be doing it all. And what I will say is you don't have to be the best pressure washer out there. You don't have to be the best Christmas light installer out there, because I personally know some really good pressure washing business owners, and I know some really good Christmas light business owners, and they suck at the marketing and they suck at the sales. And guess what? Most of them go out of business. Well, Jason, I'm just going to grow my business on referrals and I do great work. Okay. Who knows you do great work? Who told them you did great work? So that's why I teach marketing so hard. That's why I teach sales so hard, because that's what's going to grow your business. It's not about you being on the truck. You being on the truck, you're losing money. By you being on the truck, you're literally doing a $20 an hour task. I can pay anybody $20 an hour to go pressure wash a house and to go put up Christmas lights. When you work on that email, when you go put those yard signs out, when you go do the sales, them are $10,000 jobs. If I come up with an ad that can make me $10,000, that's where you need to be at. That's what you need to be doing. When you're on the truck, you can't be networking with people. You can't go to networking events. You can't go to the sales and close those jobs because you're doing a task that you can't do. And that's my whole point of why I come on here, to help you guys grow your business. And so with that, if you want to go check out King of Pressure Wash or ChristmasLights.io, if you need any Christmas lights, I am going to be having a Christmas light training coming up in April. It's going to be, or in June, I'm going to have a training in June. It's going to be the third week of June, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It will be on the website tomorrow. It's not on there right now. And that's going to be in Michigan. I also going to have one in July. It's on the website, ChristmasLights.io/in-person training or IPT. And there you will be able to see those classes and get signed up for, so that way you can learn. If you only want to do Christmas lights and not the permanent lights, come to 2 days. Come Friday and Saturday. If you want to only do permanent lights, come Saturday and Sunday. That's the 2 days. If you want to come for all 3 days, it'll be Christmas lights, marketing, sales, and then it's permanent lights. So it'll be 3 days. You don't have to come all 3 days. You probably should, but you don't have to. So with that, go be great this week and take it and learn and go be amazing. And I'll see you next week. If you want to know when I go live, you can text the word light to LITE to 855-619-5483. Or if you're on the pressure washing side, you can text the word KING, KING, to 859-696-1101. Go be great.